You're listening to the Summer Series, the best of Business Essentials Daily. Today's episode is brought to you by Mazars. Sound Cartel. Whether due to the pandemic or any number of different reasons, it can be too easy to get stuck in the moment and feel as if the walls are closing in around you and your business. So, what are some of the ways you can lift yourself out of the quicksand? From Sound Cartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. It sounds obvious, but as time goes by, the current challenges you face will pass. And as difficult as it is at the time, you'll be way better off for trying to maintain that bird's eye view. That's according to Andrew May, CEO and founder of Strive Stronger, who, as he explained shortly, faced his own hurdles during COVID-19. Small business owners have been particularly challenged these last 2 years, but as Andrew explains to Chris Ashmore, smaller businesses have advantages over their larger competitors.
Small business can move quick. I think the buzzword that we've heard way too much is pivot. Anytime someone says the word pivot, Chris, we find them. But as a smaller business, you can shift really, really fast.
Well, that agility obviously is an advantage. But what are some of the challenges, though, for small business owners?
Well, I think you are everything. You are the salesperson, you're the executive team, you're often doing the delivery and you're coming up with product and then you're doing admin and doing finances. So underscoring that is a lot of small business and medium business owners are on 24/7. We don't switch off. I had to learn this the hard way. I almost burnt out. Pretty ironic, right? When I left sport, I had a corporate wellbeing business and I can remember writing a work-life balance program. Listen to these words, Chris. Writing a work-life balance program, and I put my laptop down at 3:27 a.m., went to bed for a few hours, flew across the Nullarbor and delivered that program to partners at Ernst & Young in Perth. I was full of it with a shh in front of the it, but my mindset was, no, I've got to keep going, because if I don't, I won't build the business. That's one of the big challenges for business owners is burnout. So how do you manage the passion and build in recovery, but then also how do you channel that long-term as well to go the journey in the sustainability part?
What characteristic would you say, Andrew, is the most important to succeed in small business?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not going to go the usual one that most people say. You've got to be resilient. You do, but resilient, there's physical resilience, how hard your body is. Can you train and hold a bit of suffering and pain? There's psychological resilience, which is really mindset. There's also some research coming out about organisational resilience, about how the team or the tribe you're in can either help you grow through adversity or you can sometimes spiral down. But let's park that. I think the word that springs to mind for me is grit. And Angela Duckworth, the leading psychologist in this space, when she did her PhD on grit, it's a combination of perseverance and passion. And when you look at those two things, so what do you need to run a business, a small business? You've got to bloody love what you do, okay? That's the passion bit. You've got to really enjoy what you do, or go through periods where you're working hard and find some joy in other parts of your life. But you have to be dogged, you have to be determined, you have to go, look, this is just a rounding error, COVID-19, I'm going to bounce back. So I'd say grit is the most important thing. I'd sprinkle that with a healthy dose of optimism. And optimism, the most simplistic way of defining that, is a view that the future is going to be okay. If you're in small business and you're not passionate, and if you're not persevering and you don't think the future is going to be okay, with respect, go get a job and work with someone else, because otherwise your life is going to not be fun at all.
Wow. How then do you recommend business owners or anyone in business achieve or strengthen that grit, as you say?
Again, the passion part, and I'm an example of this, there's times when I have to do stuff, especially since COVID, we're working massive hours, digitising the business, coming up with new programs. And if I said, hey, I'm working all weekend, this is great, I'm passionate. No, I don't want to be like this. But you've got to push through at times. So I made sure I filled my well up in other areas. I made sure that I kept exercising. I made sure I kept catching up with some of my mates from school that don't give a rat's about what I do, but they're the ones that keep me accountable, have a couple of beers and have a bit of fun. time with my kids. Kids play. You've got to take those lessons from your kids as well. And the other thing is just look at the big picture. If it's been disruption for a year or so with COVID and you're in this self-employed 20, 30, 40 years, while it's challenging now, helicopter view, okay, this too shall pass, that Hebrew proverb. So it's a combination of looking after yourself, filling up your petrol tank, but also looking at the big picture. Now, as I'm saying that, I'm sure there's some people going, oh yeah, here we go, another guy. I'm sure he studied psychology, waxing all these terms. Yeah, it can be bloody tough. And when it gets tough, I think it's important to be realistic, yet still be future focused. I don't always get that balance right. So I am still a work in progress on that.
Mm-hmm. Well, these things you talk about, the grit, the resilience, the perseverance, it's something that you've got to work on all the time. Is that right?
You do. And this is one thing that we don't teach people in small business or medium business enough. You've got to not just focus on the business, but you've got to focus on yourself. You have one body. If you treated your car like you treat your body, what sort of condition would it be in? And I say this to a lot of men, and they go, oh, yeah, mate, I'd like to exercise more, but I've got a sore knee or the back's a bit stiff. How long has your knees been sore or has your back been stiff? And they'll look up and go, 10, 15, actually 20 years? It's what? What sort of car do you drive? I drive an Audi. Okay, Audi, beautiful German car. What happens when you have a red light flashing on your dashboard diagnostic? Take it to the mechanic, Andrew. What a stupid question. Why do you take your car to the mechanic when the dashboard diagnostic comes on? I love my car, mate. What about your body? 20 years that dashboard diagnostic has been going off, yelling at you, and you've done nothing about it. And you just hold the uncomfortable silence and wait for them to go, yeah. Because we think when I get the dispatch order, when I digitize a business, when I get the kids through school, when I get the holiday house, when I never comes, you have to look after your body. And I'm biased because I was an athlete and I still work in sport. But I'll always focus on the physical and get people moving, get the mitochondria activated. They're the millions of cells we have in our body, Chris, that when you move and get sunlight, they wake up. And that's why most people crash after lunch, because the mitochondria, at the very least, they're going to sleep, but the worst, they're dying. And literally your cells are dying through lack of movement. So fire up your body. That's going to make you feel better psychological straight away. But then some people are more physical, some are more psychological. Do both. And you know what happens with most people? Business starts getting better as well. So I really do reverse engineer that.
That was Andrew May, CEO and founder of Strive Stronger. Business Essentials Daily is a Sound Cartel podcast. Producers are Nick Schilberger, Chris Ashmore, Jeff Waters and myself. Technical production by Pete Letts and Belinda Trimboli. I'm Nicole Goodman. Thanks for listening. We'll bring you more Be Daily next week. Sound Cartel. This episode was brought to you by Mazars. To find out more, visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.